Greetings, everyone. How are y'all navigating these energies? Pretty intense, right? Well, I'm coming to you today with another energetic update. This update is a bit different because there is a message included with it. That message is that the ancestors are speaking. Now, what that means does not necessarily comply with what we generally consider to be speech. When I say the ancestors are speaking, it does not necessarily refer to a word or sentences that are spoken in your brain as if there was somebody in there conveying information. Often, when the ancestors speak, it occurs in the manner of synchronicities, of meaningful occurrences that happen as we engage the day, as we traverse the paths of our lives. Now, these meaningful coincidences often have to do with thoughts or words that we entertain in specific instances. And generally, those thoughts and words are then followed by something that happens in the outer world that kind of confirms the thought process you were engaged in at that moment, or the conversation that you were engaged in with someone else or even yourself. For instance, you may be thinking about your daughter or your grandmother, and then something will arise in the outer world that will bring your daughter or grandmother to mind. For instance, you may be watching television and a picture of a young girl that looks almost exactly like your daughter appears. Or you may be listening to a radio and a song may come on that's talking about someone's relationship with their grandmother. Things like that are how the meaningful coincidences occur in our lives, how the synchronicities occur in our lives. And what happens when we experience these events is that we're supposed to apply energy in the direction that the synchronicity points to. Using the same example of the grandmother, if that song comes on, well, perhaps you were then supposed to call your grandmother or do something else in relation to your grandmother. And the synchronicities are like signs, like signposts in the wilderness. Once you see one and follow it, another signpost will occur or will pop up right there in front of you that leads you to the next point in the path that the synchronicities, that the ancestors are trying to get you to follow. Right now, relying upon the external world to validate our internal feelings is the primary modality by which we are supposed to move forward in the world. Because this is the way that we come to trust the universe, that we come to trust life. It's the only way that we're able to do so in actuality. Because if we don't, we believe that we are the only valid course of direction, that our thoughts, that our information, that our knowledge is the highest power that we have to refer to as we traverse our paths, and that is not the case. In order to determine for self what the true path is, we have to begin to trust the universe, to trust the multiverse, to trust streams of information that seem to come from sources that do not have a corporeal form, that do not have physical bodies, the ancestors being a primary example of that. I speak often about the ancestors, and I like to point to them as an example of an external consciousness that is also internal as well. And by internal, I mean that the ancestors are represented within our bodies as part of our genetic cellular database, our GCD, the DNA that is within our bodies that holds the memory of every single ancestor that we have, going all the way back to the earliest inhabitants of this planet that were seeded here from other star systems, all the way to our most recent contributors to our DNA, our parents. Everything that is within us is also outside of us as well. So the representation of that energy communicates with us in many different ways, from epigenetic inputs from the environment that we inhabit in the moment, all the way to specific guidance that we receive from those who are closer to us in time, like our parents if they've passed away, our grandparents, great grandparents, those who may have actually known us during the course of our lives. Right now, it is very, very important to be able to cultivate mindfulness and to be present in the moment, to be able to bear witness to the message that the ancestors are trying to convey to you. So, that is the message for today. As you traverse the waves of this energetic situation we're currently in, as you dive down into the troghs and rise to the crest, remember that the emotions that you are feeling are transitory, and seek the deeper water. Once within the depths, you'll be able to look up above your head and see the waves crashing over your head at a distance.